Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 6 Structure and Functionalism. And we continue our topic Functionalism in Social Anthropology. And our subtopic is Structural Functional Approach of Radcliffe-Brown. Abandoning the search for origins and the past of institutions and the ways in which the cultural traits have diffused from one part of the world to the other. Radcliffe-Brown 1952 to 1980 defines each society as a functionally interrelated system in which general laws or functions operate. He accepts that the Durkheim offered the first systematic formulation of the concept of function, and that this concept is based on an analogy between the social life and organic life. However, with reference to Durkheim's use of the term need for the conditions that must be satisfied for a system to continue, Radcliffe-Brown thinks that this term would direct us towards a postulation of universal human or societal needs. As a consequence, the theory according to which events and developments are meant to fulfill a purpose and happen because of that will trap us, known as the theory of teleology, and as we said earlier, Radcliffe-Brown suspects that the functionalism might become tautological. He thus substitutes for the word need the term necessary conditions of existence. He believes that the question of which conditions are necessary for survival is an empirical one, and the study of the society will tell us about this. Radcliffe-Brown recognizes the diversity of conditions necessary for the survival of different systems. Once we have recognized this, we shall avoid asserting that each item of a culture must have a function, and that item in different cultures must have the same function. Radcliffe-Brown dislikes the use of the word functionalism, which Malinowski propagated with enthusiasm. His objection is that ism, like functionalism, are ideologies, schools of thought, philosophies, and realism of opinions. Science does not have either of them. What it has are the methods of study, opting for those methods that are regarded as the best for study. A scientist does not have any passionate relationship with any method. For him, they are all of equal importance and worth. But their operational value lies in carrying out a satisfactory study of a phenomena according to the canons of scientific research. Moreover, Radcliffe-Brown also looks at the distinction between an organism and society. For instance, an organism dies, but a society continues to survive over time, although it may be changed and transformed. An organism can be studied even when its parts have stopped working. In other words, the structure of an organism can be studied separately from its function. What is not the case with society? Social structure is observable only when it functions. Structure and function are inalienable concepts in social anthropology. That is why Radcliffe Brown calls his approach structural functional rather than functional, as many have done. He writes, the concept of function involves the notion of a structure consisting a set of relations amongst unit and titles. The continuity of the structure being maintained by a life process made up of activities of the constituent units. Radcliffe Brown's structural functional approach comprises the following assumptions. A necessary condition for survival of a society is a minimal integration of its parts. The concept of function refers to those processes that maintain the necessary integration or solidarity. And in each society, structural features can be shown to contribute to the maintenance of necessary solidarity. For Durkheim, the central concept is of solidarity, while for Radcliffe Brown it is the structural continuity of society. For example, in an analysis of the lineage system, according to Radcliffe Brown, one must first assume that some minimal degree of solidarity must exist for it to continue. Then one must examine the processes associated with the lineage system, assessing their consequences for maintaining social integration. One of the processes the investigator would come across is the role of lineage systems in adjudicating conflicts in societies where they are land-owning groups. They define who has the right to land and through which side of the family it would pass. In these societies, lineage is a cooperative group. Descending through these steps, one will explain the integration of the economic system. Then one will move to other systems of society, analyzing at each level the contribution a part will make to the structural continuity of the whole. Radcliffe Brown is far from being dogmatic in his assertions. For him, the functional unity of a social system is a hypothesis that we look for integration and structural continuity of society does not imply that it does not change. Radcliffe Brown believes that the states of social health and social illness, anemia and the dysomia, constitute two ends of the continuum, and the actual society seems to lie somewhere in between. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the self-learning podcast.